Are we live? We are live. What's going on, everybody? Hope you're all having a beautiful day, wherever it is that you are on our gorgeous planet. Welcome back to another day in the Brew-Lab. I have been I'm still struggling to find like the best way to call myself. Like there's already somebody from South Africa, which is where I grew up, who goes by the name The Chemist on Twitter. I don't know why he doesn't have any sort of other social media because his decks are just amazing and his performance on the ladder reflects that. He's always in the top 1,000. So shout out to The Chemist, fellow South African. If you want to go check out his stuff on Twitter, do so. I highly recommend it. But there's already a chemist, and I'm thinking to myself like, what other people spend time in a lab? And it's a bit hard to call myself the magic scientist, although that is pretty cool. Or the brewmaster. Let's kind of move things more towards like a beer, alcohol, brewing sort of thing, because we are making home brews. Well, we'll figure that out as the channel progresses. But welcome back. Welcome back to another day in the Brew Lab. Today, I have something quite special for you guys. And I want to talk a little bit about the archetype in and of itself before I dive into the deck details. But the archetype I want to discuss is, and I don't even know if that's the right word, archetype mechanic, but it's Magecraft. So Magecraft is a new ability that came out with the release of Strixhaven. And basically it says that this ability triggers whenever you cast or copy an instant or sorcery spell. So when I first saw it, I was like, that's just Prowess. And Prowess kind of like slid below the radar. It came out in M21. And I think because I did miss, between my teens playing Paper Magic at my local gaming store and when I started playing Arena, there was a huge gap where I missed a bunch of sets, and I didn't even like once look into any Magic news or whatsoever. So I believe that Prowess was a comeback. It has been done before, but anyway, basically Prowess says that whenever you cast an instant or sorcery, the creature that has the ability gets, I think, just +1/+1 added to their strength and toughness. So it's similar to Magecraft, but not quite. So basically, what I wanted to discuss was the fact that these Magecraft decks, like when Strixhaven first dropped, all the big streamers, what's his name? Oh my goodness, I'm drawing a blank now. Mr. So I'm just adding another environmental sciences. Mr. Crokies did like 6 or 7 videos on his super popular channel trying to find the best shell for Magecraft, and everybody went through all of the various, the way the meta usually adapts. Let's try the most obvious things. So like the colors that seemed to be doing best with it were black and white. So there was a lot of people playing Silver Quill Magecraft, which had the added bonus that black has a lot of reanimator spells. So they were playing things like Call of the Death Dweller and such, because the common problem with Magecraft decks is it runs a lot of small creatures, and you need to find this fine balance between creatures and instants and sorceries that can then trigger the Magecraft on those creatures. And I think the general consensus, or the way things sort of happen whenever meta data is talked about, it sort of happens naturally, where people settled on this around about 16 creatures and the rest spells. And the question always was like, what are the best creatures to put in? Because they don't all have Magecraft. So which other creatures can also benefit from casting a lot of spells? And of course, the first one that people came up with, which is a clear inclusion in any Magecraft deck, is Clarion Spirit. Because you're often trying to chain spells one on top of each other. So you're often going to trigger the Clarion Spirit's ability, which says that whenever you cast your second spell each turn, you get to create a 1/1 white spirit creature token with flying. So I've been watching the space, other people's ideas, where it's going in the meta as far as Magecraft, and The problem is a typical one that aggro decks have is you play a bunch of stuff, one turn, two turn, three, you're swinging in, you get them really down low. You might not have gotten the perfect draw to really get them down to 0 on turn 3, turn 4, and then poof, here comes the sweeper. Board gets wiped clean, you're left with nothing and very little ways to restock your hand or restock the battlefield, your board state. So for that reason, like I said before, it seemed like Silver Quill or Black and White was rising to the top because you could easily include Lurrus of the Dream Den, which is a kind of way to get stuff back from the graveyard, but also a lot of black reanimator spells like Call of the Death Dweller, which means you could oftentimes get back 2 creatures, Clever Lumimancer and your Leonin Lightscribe in one spell, and restock your battlefield post board wipe. So the problem with this was there's a lot of really nice 3-drops that fit in this deck. Notably, of course, is what's the name of the Mavinda. So wait, what I'll do here is I will show you my previous attempts because I also went through everything. And like, look here, I've got Lurrus Magecraft, I've got Selesnya Magecraft. I tried also, I copied and modified a little bit of Hello Good Games, Azorius Magecraft. I always had the same problem with it. You either win by turn 3 or you're screwed. If you come across any of these sort of slightly slower ramp decks, they're still cultivating on turn 3, you're probably going to win. If you come across another aggro deck, it's pretty evenly matched. It comes down to how good you play and the decisions you make, which make it really fun for me to play. But as soon as you come up against a control deck, a mid-rangey deck, often they have an answer to your stuff. And if you don't get the game done by turn 3, turn 4, latest turn 5, it's over. You can't stock up your hand. So ways I found of trying to get around this, with Selesnya, I put in Mavinda, which essentially gives, instead of having a Lurrus, which allows you to bring your creatures back from the graveyard, you have Mavinda, which if you play it in your main deck, you cannot play Lurrus as a companion. So, but yeah, Mavinda essentially allows your instants and sorceries to keep coming back from the graveyard. So instead of having creatures that come back, I put in Mavinda and have many spells in my deck that make sure that my creatures don't die in the first place. Heroic Intervention, Snakeskin Veil, which we can keep casting from the graveyard because of Mavinda's ability. And then I put in a couple of copies, some copies of Bala Ged Recovery to then go, if I can't fetch, if I really need a specific, like something like a Leonin Lightscribe back from the graveyard, then Bala Ged Recovery was great. And because these tend to be low mana curve decks, it's okay to run something like 22 lands, 20 lands, especially if you have some MDFC lands in the deck as well. So this version actually here, I wanted to do a video on. It's pretty nice. I haven't seen anyone running it quite the way I am. I like the addition of Adventure Awaits because oftentimes when the balance is so evenly spread, like even here again, 15 creatures, 25 non-creatures, there's such few creatures that often you'll draw a hand full of your Defiant Strikes, Charge Throughs, blah, 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 but you can't, you have nothing to cast it on. So Adventure Awaits is a good way to make sure that we either drawing a card, which is another big problem in these decks, or at least finding one of the creatures that then we can cast these spells on top of to trigger the Magecraft ability. The common theme amongst all of them, and fortunately, actually the only color that has a problem with this is black, but white, green, and red have all been given an instant speed. No, I beg your pardon, the red one is sorcery speed, but that's okay. Basically, 1 mana cantrip that draws you a card and does something. The white and green ones, in this case, this one gives you trample, which is the same actually as the red one, surprisingly enough, and draw a card. Here it gives +1/+0 and draw a card. The deck which we'll be playing today on the ladder is a Lorehold version. So I went through where, here we go again, Crash Through, gives trample, 1 mana, draw a card. Defiant Strike, 1 mana, draw a card. Very important in this deck. And I had a version of this before I arrived at this final one, where instead of Seize the Spoils, I was running 2 copies of Showdown of the Skelds, which was pretty nice. But then that stopped me from having Lurrus. So I took out the Showdown of the Skelds, put in 2 Seize the Spoils, which gives me a little bit of card draw, and then included Lurrus, which allows me to bring stuff back from the graveyard. So up until now, everything I've said is pretty obvious, pretty clear, pretty straightforward. I think there's no surprises for anyone so far. The difference and my a little spark of genius from last night when I was crafting and brewing this thing was the addition of Prowess. So going back to that problem that we have of like balancing out how many creatures towards how many spells, this deck only has 12 creatures. And I got around that by putting in Goblin Wizardry. So this creates 2 token creatures, but they have Prowess. So similar to Magecraft, whenever I cast an instant or sorcery, they get a boost. Unfortunately, it's not when you copy. So when things like Show of Confidence go off and start copying on each other, the Prowess creatures only get the trigger for the first time it's actually cast. But that's okay, because if you have a Leonin Lightscribe in play, all of my creatures get +1/+1 for each time it's copied. So we make up for that. And we are winning games by making sure we hang on to a last copy of Crash Through if they haven't been able to build up a board state or wipe us. By turn 4, Crash Through, everything gets... turn 5, we've got your goblins down. You've managed to hopefully keep at least 1 Clever Lumimancer and 1 Leonin Lightscribe on the board. Give everything trample, copy it all up with Show of Confidence, and it's ends the game. Like I said in the post I made on Facebook about this deck just before I pressed stream, I'm sitting on 75% win rate over just under 20 games, which isn't a huge data set to make any assumptions around, but that's pretty good. I'm pretty surprised. I'm surprised. It's working surprisingly well. It's clearly an aggro deck. We're trying to close things off quickly, but by removing the Showdown of the Skelds, I was able to sort of give it a little bit of that mid-game survivability through Lurrus, being able to bring things back from the graveyard. The rest is a little bit of control-y, removal-y elements. So we have 3 copies of Rip Apart to get rid of those pesky enchantments and artifacts. I wish they had made this spell instant speed. Maybe it would have been a little bit too good for 2 mana. I understand why they did it, but if this had been instant speed, mwah, but still, amazing card. Loving Rip Apart, covers so many bases, which means, I could actually get rid of one of these from the sideboard and put in, I don't know, something more useful than a destroy target artifact, as we already have 3 in the main deck. I'll keep 1 there just in case, but I'm thinking the lesson board starts to become really handy in this deck. So there isn't like an obvious thing that you would put in, but the things that you don't have in the main deck that you need to make up for, you can have in the lesson board. So these Magecraft decks have a problem keeping your hand stocked with stuff to cast. So I've been putting a lot of scry and draw. So I think what I'll do is I'll do exactly that. But although 2 is probably fine, I like the fact that we're gaining a bit of life with this. And it's only 2 mana, so often we can trigger our Magecraft and gain a bit of life with the environmental sciences. So I think I'm going to go 3 environmental sciences, 1 start from scratch. Actually, let's get rid of that. 2. And perhaps put in a reduced in memory as a sort of fail-safe if we really need to get rid of something. And that's about it. It's this sort of fusion between the goblins that have prowess and the rest of the usual suspects from the Magecraft crew. Clever Lumimancer, Leonin Lightscribe. And it goes off. This deck goes off. I've done I posted some screenshots yesterday. This deck that I can do 20 plus damage on turn 4. It's mind-boggling when it just fires the way you want it to. I think that's given the deck a very good sort of rundown. That's it. You know, Igneous Inspiration is the card that allows us to access our learn board. I was debating running Souls here instead, as it is such a much better removal. You don't have the learn ability, but it gets rid of your hallowed blades, you know, anything with indestructible. How many times have we had it on stream where they sacrifice a selfless savior to protect the creature that we're targeting with Solskjaer? Nobody reads the card. They think they're gonna give it indestructible, and then it gets wiped anyway, and they've gotten rid of their selfless savior. So I love me some Solskjaer, but then we can't access the lesson board, and because it's an aggro deck, usually we don't really need to get rid of their massive creatures that have 5 health, because if they've gotten to the point where they're casting that type of creature, then we've probably lost the game already anyway. So that's it. Let's jump into the games. Who's writing to me on? Richard Smith. I think I need to join this group. Mana Riot. Never heard of it. I definitely want to check this out. Sorry. Right. Where were we? Wizardry. Goblin Wizardry. On the ladder. Let's keep the streak alive. I've won something like the last 6 in a row. And let me tell you now exactly. But yeah, we're sitting on 75% win rate. I want to keep that up and push these numbers up into the 90% if we can on stream today. See, this is a typical problem. One creature, bunch of spells. No card draw. But I hate mulliganing when I am on the play, so we shall keep this and just pray to the magic gods that things go as planned. Get to scry. Probably can get rid of that for now. What I'm hunting for is this third land. Opponent is playing Prismari. This tends to happen often. They freak out, see our first card, and get rid of it because they're like, know what's coming. And then they've gotten rid of their like sort of first early game removal. Counterspell? No. We need another land to get the Clarion Spirit to trigger. The Blood Chief's Thirst. A charming fellow. Oh, I'm gonna play you 8. Actually, you know what? Unless they counter this, I'm gonna go grab the. Okay, no counter. We need to get some land. Like yesterday. Maybe cast Goblin Wizardry the following turn. Okay. Opponent seems to be playing some kind of a Grixis Pests thing. Interesting. We get rid of this. We take the hit. It's only we've just gained 2. Now we can lose 3. It's not so bad, but we definitely don't want the Sedgemoor. I keep forgetting the name of this card. We don't want the Sedgemoor staying in the battlefield in any way, shape, or form. Now, the question is, let's do this. I know it's bad to waste this spell, perhaps unnecessarily, on, you know, nothing's really targeting it. But we do get to trigger. I do need to start creating a bit of a board presence. This way, if he has removal, he has to choose. Oh, goodness gracious me. Okay, okay. I'm gonna kill that creature right now. Oh, for crying out loud. What are the chances of that? What are the chances? Okay. Probably gonna kill my Lurrus right now. But if all we get is one sort of thing back from the graveyard with Lurrus, it's already enough in this kind of deck. See, this is exactly what I was talking about in the introduction. We're coming across a definitely much or 100% control deck, and there's very little this Magecraft deck can do. I'm pretty much screwed at this point. Like, they've got me in a pincer hold. What I'm going to do next turn, if any of these creatures survive at all, is to cast Defiant Strike and then show of confidence on both of them. Oh my god. This is not looking good at all. I've seen Sonio playing this deck on the ladder. What an ass. So it's okay when I'm playing control, then I'm just being the great player. As soon as I'm playing against control, then they're the asshole. 2. This will make it into a no. 6. This is absolute game over. Why is it that I lose every single first game on stream? It's as if... yeah. Well, let's see if he's still got enough removal to get rid of another 2 goblins. Professor Onyx is so good. And in collaboration with Ashiok, like the version that I made was running 4 copies of Rowan and Will. This is just ridiculous. Just like the perfect everything. Okay, we're gonna concede this one. Ruining my streak, man. You and your smelly control decks. I only want to play against easy decks. Our saving spree is going really good for the dropping of the next set. Yeah, I have a Google a notification thingy set up. We're 40 days away from the arrival of the Dungeons and Dragons set on Arena. Mulligan that. Let's get rid of Show of Confidence. It's nice that we're on the play. Really hoping the opponent's playing. Yes, green we can work with. Usually they're just trying to flood the board with creatures and they can't quite get around to casting anything that is significantly painful by turn 4. And we also have a little removal spell right here. Swing in for 6. This is the kind of ideal Magecraft game. On the play, opponent plays a threat, you get rid of the threat. See, now this isn't a very big threat. You can have a fight spell on my Clever Lumimancer. Okay. Interesting. At worst, what can they bust out now? That's gonna blow my mind. Okay. That's fine. So now let's draw a card. Hopefully it's something useful. Yes! That's done it. I mean, he has to block. I mean, it's so busted. Like, luckily, I mean, it has its limitations. Otherwise, I would be like, holy crap, what a ability that they put into Strixhaven with this Magecraft. I mean, that was, if he didn't have a blocker there, we would have gotten in for like 19 damage off of 2 cards. One Defiant Strike, one Show of Confidence. Nuts. Okay, at least we got one win. So 1-1 on stream. Who's keeping score? Feeling confident. Feeling like pawning some noobs. Get a little nicotine in my system. I in no way advertise the use of nicotine products. I guess that's also why I made my channel no under 18s. I don't want to have to watch my language or anything like that, so I guess I'll just have to miss out on that whole chunk of viewers. But I'm okay with that. What if I want to drink a beer on stream? Okay, so this has been a playline that I've been running every time where I like get the Lumimancer down quickly. I think what I want to do now is actually use it to get my Clarion Spirit firing. So turn 2 Clarion Spirit, turn 3 I can play Lightscribe and the Lumimancer and trigger the Clarion Spirit and set myself up for an incredible turn 4 where I will cast Goblin Wizardry, which is an instant, trigger everything. It's not bad. And he attacks, which means he won't have a blocker. Not that he needs one. Apologies. Oh, that was really silly. I should have played my white land. That was really, really silly. Okay, so rather than let's just go dig in. Get some life gain. I'm not going to be blocking the Hello Blade anyway. Now with Hello Blade, we need to worry. I mean, this is definitely some sort of warriors build. We need to worry about equipments. Speak of the devil. So there's anyway no way I could have gotten rid of that. We just need to make sure we have chunk blockers. So let's do the play from last turn. Although, instead of casting the Lumimancer, actually yes. Yeah, let's gain some life and find another land. Just might as well. Pass the turn. Ouch! We need to make sure we have blockers up every turn, otherwise we're going to be done pretty quickly. Problem is they have... okay, so we can get rid of that enchantment right now. Thank you very much. Sorry, artifact. I don't know if I want to get them to sacrifice the... I mean, discard the card that they have in hand by attacking in and create a sort of nice target. But then that kind of stops us from creating blockers in case they get another card out. So let's just sort of hope on the trample card next turn. What's it called again? Crash through. Oh gosh, double strike. That's what I was dreading. Core Blade Master. The mini Halvar. Aha! Do we have enough mana? We do. They have nothing left to discard. Triggers Mania! See what happened to our goblins? Kind of needed to do this to get rid of some stuff. So now if he swings in with this Hallow Blade, we've done it. He can't afford to, because then he will have no blockers left. The only thing is Ember Cleave would have given it trample, which means you know, a single 1/1. Yes. Oh yes. Let's draw another instant or sorcery. Yes. Oh yes. Everything has trample. I think it's game over. If we draw a show of confidence now. Pity. We can go grab our Lurrus, and then we just swing in with everything. You can make the Hallow Blade indestructible by discarding a card. After the blocking, okay, right. Game over! This deck, man, it's so much fun. I'm really having fun. So that's one loss, 2 wins. But who's keeping score, right? Oh, my buddy Max is on the stream. What's up, brother? One of my first fans ever. Showing some love. I need to really set up a second screen so I can have the YouTube chat on the side and actually respond to my viewers without alt-tabbing out from the game. That's a tough keep. We can scry. I don't like mulliganing on the play, but we are on the draw. So, what's the opponent playing? Giving nothing away. No sleeves, no pet, no companion. Let's risk it. Hopefully we'll draw a creature straight away. Mono red. That's the creature. We've got one show of confidence already. Keep that for later. Mono red is just the bane of my existence. I hate them with all my passion. Can't even block the charger. Plus, he's probably just gonna get rid of my Leonin Lightscribe with a removal spell right now. I actually, honestly, this is my least favorite deck by far. Watch, he's gonna even cast some sort of spell that, what's it gonna be? A Stomp to the Face with Bone Crusher, which triggers it. Oh god, we're so screwed. This is just by far the sort of best aggro deck in the format right now, and there's nothing anyone can do about it. It's just really causes me to have sleepless nights. Here comes the stomp. Oh, crying out loud. Luckily we kept up mana for some. Oh! Probably got another frostbite. Oh. You know, it's such good tempo. They like can always just do what they want to do. It's similar to what makes rogues good. You know, you can play creatures and then get rid of threats right away. I think let's just get down some blockers. There's very little one can do against this deck. Like, honestly. Bunch of haste creatures. Well, that's game over. Play 2, leaves me with 3 mana. All we can do, seize the spoils. We've lost next turn anyway, so might as well give it a try. And what we can do is give everything a vigilance, so that at least we can try and keep up some blockers. It gets down to 7. It's tight. I mean, if it's an Embercleave now, we're screwed. Freaking mono red. Ruining my day. Yeah, Max, I could have, I think on my phone, have the YouTube chat on my phone on the side, but I'm constantly picking up my phone to reply to people. Also doesn't make for the best content. I need to think of another solution. Well, I mean, it's quite simple. I think I've got an HDMI out, and I can just plug it into this tiny little tablet monitor thing that I have. It should do the trick. Just my wife's often using that tablet for work, so kind of can't use it. Cthulhu is real. Is it Lovegood made those books? The Cthulhu books? Good stuff. A lot of tap lands, a little bit awkward, but it's okay. We'll make it work. If we draw a normal basic land, that should sort of help us out. And we've got a little bit of removal. I'm starting to think I should put in a different, you know, Soul Seer, because it can get rid of bigger things, and then access our learn board through a different card. Maybe get rid of the Seize the Spoils and maybe the Feat of Resistance, and put in some other learn card that's handy with Magecraft, maybe the +1/+1 counters thing, or I don't know. Okay. Really want a lemon land that is not a tapped land next turn. Then I can do a double rip apart on whatever creature he plays, if any. Luckily there's no second blue source, so we're not looking at counter spells. And the Prismari Commander seems to be the, yes, Dragon's Approach. I think we might as well go and do this. And do we want to gain life or scry? We've got plenty of land. But we might as well scry. I mean, yeah, gain some life. It's also cheaper, so we can do a Clarion Spirit and this next turn and get a double trigger on both Clarion Spirits. This deck is a little bit slow. I haven't seen anyone really get the Dragon's Approach thing off amazingly yet, so... And we really need Leonin Lightscribe. We swing it in for 8 next turn. Sorry, 6. My bad. Math, math. Mr. Cthulhu, with the epic sleeves, what are you up to? What I thought was initially Prismari is now looking like Jeskai. Well, definitely Jeskai. I should have seen the Needleverge Pathway. Another Prismari command. Interesting. I think we're definitely gonna do this. This might even be it. Sorry, Cthulhu man. That was epic. So quick wins, quick, lots of games. You know, if you want to climb the ladder, knock a lot of best of 1 games out of the way without like long drawn out control matches, this is just the kind of deck that you'd be looking to play. And it's not very wildcard intensive. You can definitely craft it with very few wildcards. I don't think there's any mythics in there at all. Throne of Eldraine pack from our... Ooh, some gems. Sitting on, I mean, this is just from free to play. 19,000, a little under a month of saving. We're looking really good for the D&D set. I have plenty of coins to spend. I'm definitely gonna do a stream where I just rip apart over 100 boosters and try and get the entire set like within the first couple of days of it dropping. Stick around for that. Subscribe. Don't forget to subscribe. I need to start doing this at the beginning of my streams like all the other YouTubers. Like, comment, subscribe, press the bell notification icon thingy. Just looking at... Oh, now that is the kind of hand I like to see. Wish we were on the play. Clarion Spirit next turn. So if he does have removal, we kind of keep the Leonin Lightscribe. Oh! This could even be Silver Quill Magecraft. Next turn we go Clarion Spirit, Crushed, keep a Lumimancer back in case we run into some removal. Luckily, you won't find them playing much. Okay, so I'd definitely rather get rid of the Lumimancer. I think of the commands, the Silver Quill one is definitely one of the best. So let's do what I just said. And save the crash through for next turn. If we can crash through, draw another sorcery, and start storming off, that'll be where we want things to be. Is he gonna swing in with the Killeen? Definitely let that one go. A little bit silly from the opponent. Yes! Yes! Oh yes. Actually, I think we should keep that. Although this could be the game-ending swing, so let's just go for it. Good game. Yes! Look at this. I mean, that is ridiculous. That is ridiculous. I mean, it's, I think, 12 plus 8. Oh, yeah! Turn 4 wins, baby. That's what it's all about. Oh, my goodness. Oh, my goodness. Shredding. What's that? 2 losses, 4 wins. No. 5 games, 6 games total. Yeah, okay. That's not bad. The stream is now 45 minutes in. We have time for at least another 2-3 matches with these fast decks. I think what really shocks me the most since I've started making content is how people respond to clickbaity titles. And because I lean on EtherHub and I've signed up for their content creator program, my decks appear on the list. So whoever uses MTGA Assistant will see my deck list every time they get into the game. So I've seen the amounts of views and copies of decks that I create on EtherHub go up through the roof since I did that, which is amazing, and thank you. But what I've noticed is, for example, with my deck, which I've now actually deleted, and I did so on stream because it was so rubbish, the Dwarf deck that I tried a few streams back actually has a lot more clicks and views and downloads than some of my other decks. But if people had actually just stuck around and watched the video to the end, they would have heard me say, like, this is rubbish deck, don't copy it. I've actually gone and deleted it from my decks. And then other decks, like my aggro clerics deck, has the least copies and the least downloads, but it's actually, out of all of the decks that I've been playing over the last month, the one that's performing by far the best, and probably the one I will be doing on my like end of season stream, where I try to push my way into the higher mythic rank numbers, because this is the one. I mean, this deck is ridiculous. I won't even stress the point enough. I'll just tell you fully, with all my honesty, that out of all the decks I've been playing over the last month, since the beginning of the May season started, the one that has upwards of 60 games with this deck, and I'm still rocking like a 68 to 70% win rate with it. It's phenomenal. But anyway, enough blabbing. Let's get on with the games. Cookie Monster. I always think of that. Isn't it a McDonald's character, the Cookie Monster? Okay, so this is the typical hand that we want to mulligan. We have nothing going on here except for a bit of removal. We're on the draw. I'm perfectly happy mulliganing that hand. And definitely keeping this one, and we can get rid of one pathway. That is a lovely hand. Cookie Monster playing mono green. No, Selesnya counters. This might even be Selesnya Magecraft. I found myself not running the Dragon's God Elite in my version of the deck for some reason. If this gets too big and out of hand, we need to rely on chump blockers to get through this game. Because they have the trample card drawer with these colors. So even, we need to, the most damage I can do is 3 with either Rip Apart or the Igneous Inspiration. So if this gets in any way pumped up, we are, already, here we go. It's going to be too big for us to remove. Huh. Opponent keeps a Snakeskin Veil instead of casting it. I'm sure he's worried that we're going to do, or maybe he's going to use a fight spell. That's the one good thing about Dragon's Guard Elite. You can run the Inscription of Abundance, I believe it's called, the green kicker inscription spell thingy. Double trigger. 2 chump blockers, even if he has the fight spell to get rid of one of our Clarion Spirits. We now have some chump blockers. Goodness, that is a lot of land. It's enough land. Thank you. Cookie Monster having some deep thoughts. See, I bet you he was debating whether to use Inscription of Abundance with only one. Ooh. Double Dragon's Guard. Ooh. You know, you can kick a cost for 5 and get all the various modes, or just do it for 1 and then you can only choose one of them. I think if he just gets one more mana, that would make it a lot better for him. So let's do this. Kind of nice. This is exactly why I only have a couple of copies of Season Spoils. It's like not... See now, the only protection that they could have is Sejiri Shelter thing, and I don't know if... I can't remember how much it costs. I think it's 2. It's worth a try. Anyway, we'll get the trigger off of our Clarion Spirits, even if he protects the Dragon Guard Elite. So 2 more flyers, which is great. Does he have the protection? He does. Oh well. This is where it starts to get a little dangerous. Like if you don't block, that's when they hit you with the million triggers, like he's trying to do now. I think we'll just block anyway. And if he gives him trample, we might even be screwed now. That's how crazy these Magecraft decks are. But I'm not willing to risk my Clarion Spirits. There we go. There's the trample. That's a lot of damage to the face. We might even follow it up with a Defiant Strike. Ay caramba! And the difference between Dragon's Guard Elite and the Leonin Lightscribe is that they get to keep the counters. Oh, goodness. I think that's it. I think that's gone and done it. I think. Yeah. Oh. Okay, no. Ooh, that's the beauty of Crash Through. It gives everything trample. What's this one called? Charge Through only gives 1 creature trample. Important to know. Very big difference. I don't think we can win. It's game over. Another land. Come on, man. Game over. Let's humor them. If they can give these guys trample at all, we're screwed. No trample. Okay. Ooh. What is going on? What is going on, mate? This kind of stuff just drives me up the wall. In a 22 land deck, we've just gone and drawn only land for an entire match. It's just, okay, fine then, like, whatever. Here comes the trample. No? Okay. Skin of my teeth. No, don't want to risk our Lurrus getting chump blocked, even though I don't think he would have done it. He might have had a spell to make him bigger. I might have been quite happy to trade Lurrus for the Lightscribe, but seems like the opponent's getting a lot of land as well. I think we need to just... keep getting the Clarion Spirit back from the graveyard. But if he has anything with Trample now, we're screwed. Okay. Just indestructible. Okay, a little bit of card draw. Can make another token. We swing in with the Lurrus just to get a bit of life gain going on. Okay, do we save this now? Yeah. Oh, oh God. Nice little inclusion there. Some card that got a reprint, because that is not a symbol I think is in standard right now. Now I have to triple block or I'm busted, and that is just it for us. Good game. Could have, you know, maybe... we could have nothing. Game over. The magical draw of nothing. Yay! Alright. So, 4 wins, 3 losses. Is that right? Who's keeping track? We are now almost 1 hour deep. Gonna have one last, maybe 2 more matches. That's a problem with these decks. Like, it's kind of a silver bullet. I like to call them silver bullet decks. My good friend from Bali, Ibrahim, first brought that term up with me. It's, you know, tunnel vision. Like, everything just has to go perfectly, and you have to have the perfect draw. And if you do, it's like devastatingly good. But if you don't, then you're dead on arrival, pretty much. Rumpelstiltskin, playing Lorehold colors so far with the Temple of Triumph. Okay, can this and then show up confidence next. I won't get the copy trigger, but it's something. We'll get the Clarion Spirit trigger. Some removal. Shock. Seed. Selfless Savior. It's a Winota deck. Yay! This deck. It's enough to drive you up the wall. 1,000,000% Winota deck. That's 3. Oh, sorry. This is a human. So 2 non-humans. It's disgusting. Truly disgusting. Okay, that's enough now. I need red mana. Please, deck. Do your thing. Here comes Renata. It's literally cheating, like, such a joke. He's gonna play Renata next turn and get like a million triggers. And then I'll be screwed. So annoying. It's useless to even try anything. Here comes Renata. I won't even give them the pleasure of seeing the triggers go off. Blech. Get stuffed, you pathetic loser. God, I cannot stand that deck. It's just like, okay, you did nothing, and then you played a creature on turn 4. And then what? You get a Blade Historian. Just get stuffed. At least it was over quickly. We can jump into a last one before I cut the stream off. I am DMO. Yamdmo. Yamdmo? Misalaki. I'm such a Star Wars junkie, if you haven't already noticed from the hat I'm wearing. But, huge fan of the Gungans, even though most people that are diehards hate the Gungans. I love me some Gungans. Black means Blood Chief's Thirst, Heartless Act, or discard spell. That's nice. That's very nice. I was, dreading using one of those draw spells, but got another one straight off the top. That's very nice. Hopefully they'll play a creature now. Something small that I can get rid of with Igneous Inspiration would be ideal. Yo! You are gone, my dear friend. Even if I lose some life. Because then I'm going to gain it right back on the next turn. Yes, very good. Oh, down to 9. Extinction Event is our enemy. Or Crippling Fear. Come on, buddy. Okay, opponent scries. It's a pity. So I might have to switch into another mode here. Yeah. We play the goblins. If they don't have a sweeper, we've done it. Okay. Okay, we're trying the mono black tokens shenanigans with the finale or whatever it's called. But this is a GG. Everything trample. Gain a bit of life. Why not? Are they gonna scoop before they let us go full send on their asses? I really think there's something to this. Prowess, Magecraft. I'm gonna keep brewing. Minus 15. Just babooshka. A little bit of a redeemer there at the end of the stream. I think that really I think that we'll call it a day. I think that really showcased the deck. It's brand new. I've only just whipped it out of the lab last night. I think there's some tinkering and some brewing that still can be done on it to make it even better. Perhaps a best of three version. I would love to get your opinion, feedbacks, adjustments. You know what you would do with the deck. You know, of course, drop those comments down below. I always like to see them, and they of course help a brother out with the YouTube algorithm. Yeah, I've got nothing else to add other than I will be continuing to fiddle around with this Magecraft Prowess fusion just to show you some potential additions which I was looking at. The Heartfire emulator. It would be incredible if you could target anything. It's only creature or planeswalker. But what would be nice with this and the trample 1 mana charge through is you can get in for the damage, and then if they have a big creature on the board, at your end step, sacrifice it and get rid of the big creature, because this can get easily pumped up to a 6/6 or something, and you can get rid of those Gargaroths or whatever. Then something with flying. There's that 1 mana Magecraft card in blue that has flying, but it's only a 0/2, I believe, which then gets pumped up to a 2/2 when the Magecraft trigger happens. This might be the better fit. Also, a way to get cards back from the graveyard without having to run Mavinda can be the Shipwreck Dowser. Some brewing needs to happen here before I come back with the final word on this. But I think there's potential. Magecraft Prowess Fusion. That's it. That's all for today. Thank you all so much for watching. If you like what you saw, please subscribe, give me a thumbs up, and leave some comments down below. Hit the little bell icon so you get notified when I start streaming next. That's it. This is Lone Fox from the Brew-Lab signing out. Peace!